This is the last of the videos for test of proportion problems. And then this one, we're going to talk about two different kinds of problems that are not complete hypothesis test problems, but we're given information about a hypothesis test that has taken place, and we're given basically the results. And the only thing we really have to do is state a conclusion, or state the decision and the conclusion. So we'll be given the results of step 3 and necessary information, alpha and the claim, to be able to determine if the test statistic is in a rejection region, or determine if the p-value is less than or equal to alpha. So let's look at one of each of those. All right, this is number 4 out of 5. And the problem is, the National Institutes of Health stated that fewer than 15% of people who got the latest flu shot actually came down with the flu. A researcher conducts a hypothesis test of the claim at the 0.01 significance level and finds a p-value of 0.0102. State the decision and state the appropriate conclusion as related to the original claim. Okay, the problem gives us alpha as 0.01, and I've highlighted that information in yellow, and it also gives us the claim fewer than 15%. So 15% tells us it's p, the proportion, and 0.15 then is going to be the value, and fewer than means less than. So p is less than 0.15. This is it. All right, so we've got that. And now what we have to do here is, we've already got the results of the test. The p-value is 0.0102. So what do we do with p-value? We always compare it to alpha. 0.0102, is that less than or equal to 0.01? Well, 0.0100 and 0.0102, well, 0.0102 is bigger than 0.0100. So that means that alpha is not less, or p-value is not less than or equal to alpha. Therefore, we have to fail to reject. So that would be the decision that we make for this problem. And then we take that decision and the original claim to step 5 to come up with the wording of our conclusion. I won't go through that process because we did that in fair detail in previous videos. Then let's look at this kind of problem right here, number 5. A worldwide relief organization estimates that 75% of aid shipped to a particular country actually gets to the people for whom it is intended. A hypothesis test conducted at the 0.05 significance level yields a test statistic of 1.93. The critical values for this test are known to be negative 1.96 and positive 1.96. State the decision and state the appropriate conclusion as related to the original claim. So we have the results of the test. We got a test statistic value and we've got the critical values. We know it's a two-tailed test because it's if we go back and look at the original claim information, they're stating that 75% gets to the people. That means that 75% is the number. It's equal to 75. And it's a percent, that means it's a proportion, p, and 0.75 is the value, and we know it's equal. P equals 0.75, making it a two-tailed test because the alternate hypothesis is not equal. So, and then we also have the critical values. We don't have to go look those up. So we got the results from step 2, step 2, and step 3. And we need to go to the step 4 and find out what that is. And whenever we have one of these problems where we have critical values and a test statistic given to us, it's a good idea to draw a sketch so that we know where things are, because remember, what we're trying to do is determine where the test statistic is relative to the critical values If we have that line and the critical values are on that line, then we know where that test statistic is, and we can see if it is in a critical region or not. So the critical values were negative 1.96 and positive 1.96. So if we draw that line and plot the mean, which is 0, gives us an important point of reference, the negative 1.96 and the positive 1.96, and then we plot the test statistic, negative 1.93, and it is close to this negative 1.96, but is slightly bigger than. It's not to the left of negative 1.96, therefore it is not in the critical or rejection region, and therefore we will fail to reject H0. So our decision is going to be negative 1.96 is farther away from the mean than negative 1.93. So it's not in the critical region, and we fail to reject H0. And then we go to the flow chart to get the wording of the statement of conclusion. And I got a typo in there, which I'm going to leave in. And that's how we're going to do these two kinds of problems. So I will leave it at that. I think we've covered everything we need to know in tests of proportion. We'll move to tests of mean in the next video. Okay, so I bid you adieu.